and thank you for joining me today. We're going to explore one of the most transformational yet often underrated techniques in skincare, so your facial massage. Whether you're in a beauty professional or someone who just loves performing skin rituals, learning this art can really elevate your treatments and boost your skin health from the inside out. So what's on the agenda today? Why facial massage? We're going to cover a little bit of the anatomy of the face, types of massage techniques, and when to use facial massage, contraindications, and like I mentioned, we're going to perform a little bit of a demo of a facial massage technique. So why do we perform facial massage? So we boost circulation. So massage increases the blood flow to the skin, delivering oxygen and nutrients to the cells. This really nourishes the skin from within, improving tone and texture. It supports lymphatic drainage, so gentle arrhythmic movements help to clear excess fluid and waste products from the tissues. It improves muscle tone and facial contours. So this is working with facial muscles like the masseters, the zygomatics, the frontalis, and can really lift and sculpt. And during our demo today, I will definitely show you a few moves that you can utilize in your facial massage to give you that little bit of a lift and sculpt. It helps prevents and softens sagging by keeping the muscles stimulated. It enhances product penetration. So by increasing the skin's temperature and permeability, it helps serums and creams absorb more effectively. It also relieves tension and stress. So many people hold stress in the jaw, the brows, and the temples. Massage releases tightness and preventing deep expression lines. Stimulates collagen and elastin. So gentle stimulation really encourages fibroblasts to produce more supportive proteins. Over time, this is going to help maintain the skin firmness and elasticity. It also helps to promote a healthy glow, so the increasing of your microcirculation for a fresh, radiant appearance immediately after the treatment. And then we have the holistic mind and skin connection. So this, again, is going to really calm the nervous system, triggering a relaxation response. It's also going to improve your client's well-being, making treatments more than just skin deep. So types of facial massage techniques. So each technique serves a different purpose. So from detoxification to sculpting. So the key with any sort of massage movement is intention and rhythm. So we have our effleurage. So these are your long flowing and gliding strokes performed with the whole hand and fingertips. Again, really sculpting the face with your hands, usually starting and ending a massage. The movements are slow and rhythmic. It also relaxes the nervous system, warms up tissues, it boosts the circulation and distributes products evenly. Then we have our petrissage. So this is like your gentle kneading, your rolling or lifting of the skin and underlying muscles using your fingers or thumbs. So often this is where we're going to increase that pressure and really work into any tension of the skin or the face. This is going to improve your circulation, stimulate muscles, and helps mobilize deeper tissues for toning and lifting. Then we have tapotement. So this is your light rhythmic tapping or percussion. Sorry, that was a bit of a tongue twister. With your fingertips and cupped hands. This can include tapping or your hacking or cupping. This is performed very lightly on the face. This is going to stimulate your nerve endings. It energizes the skin and really increases your microcirculation. Then we have friction. So these are your small circular movements using your fingertips or thumbs to generate a gentle heat in targeted areas, breaks down adhesions in your fascia. This is increasing your blood flow to specific areas and softens tension. So your fascia is that connective tissue between the skin and your muscles. Vibration. So this is rapid shaking or trembling movements. This is applied with your fingertips or a mechanical device. This is going to stimulate nerve endings. It relaxes muscles and soothes your sensitive skins. Then your lymphatic drainage. So with your lymphatic drainage, remember this is your system that runs along your circulatory system or your vessels. These are feather light and really slow pumping strokes following the lymphatic pathways towards lymph nodes. This helps to reduce your puffiness, removes excess fluid, and supports detoxification. And then we have your acupressure. So this is applying steady, gentle pressure to specific points of the face. And everyone who's performed your facial massage, between the eyes, that third eye area, we all know there's that beautiful acupressure point. This is going to release your muscle tension, improve energy flow, and support your skin treatments. So we're going to dive a little bit into the anatomy of the face. So understanding facial anatomy is essential. We're not just rubbing the skin. We're working with muscles. We're working with fascia. We're working with lymph and emotional tension. So we have 40 forgotten muscles in the face that we utilize all the time. When we have a sore back or a tight shoulder, our first thought is to go for a massage. That's the same concept for our face. However, we don't think about how often or how much we use the facial muscles. So, and really, when we do get a bit of tension or a tension headache, especially in the masseters here, we have our buccinator, which aiding us for talking, eating. When they get sore, we don't really think about going to get the massage frequently like we do, say, with our lower back or a tight shoulder. So as you can see in the diagram, it outlines your main muscles that we really work in and utilize or massage when we are performing these facial massages. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of them in comparison to the body. So, you know, we've got our zygomatus, our masseters, our buccinator, which is a muscle that's located inside of the mouth. So very rarely do we have the opportunity of massaging this unless we're trained in the buccal type massages. We have our platysma, our orbicularis oris, and then our nasalis as well. So by massaging these muscles, we're going to really help give that lifting, that lymphatic movement, and release a lot of pressure and tension within the face. Facial movements for targeted skin concerns. So this is a little bit of an example of different variety of massage movements you can use and where to perform a more intentional targeted facial massage. So when we're trying to treat loss of firmness, so the massage movements we want to use are your lifting effleurage treatments, either with our knuckles or our fingertips, working upwards in our jawline to the cheekbone. Then we have our brow lifting type movements. And again, I will demonstrate some of these movements in the demo. And the muscles we're targeting are your masseters, your zygomatic major and minor, then our frontalis as well, to really give you that lifted boost to the skin. So the purpose and effect, it lifts the soft tissue, stimulates muscle tone, and improves collagen activity. Then if we're trying to treat puffiness or fluid retention, that this is where we want to utilize like your manual lymphatic drainage, really light, slow pumping motions towards the lymph nodes, so either to the ears, under the chin, or the side of the neck. We also have one just in between, around closer to our eye area as well, which again, I'll be demonstrating in the demo. The muscles targeted, so our platysma, our buccinator, if we're trained in your buccal or intraoral type massage, your orbicularis oculi around the eye area. This is going to reduce swelling, encourages lymph flow, and helps to detoxify. So sometimes when you are performing your facial massages and we're working on a lot of lymphatic type movements, give your client a moment to they tend to feel a little bit lightheaded or really woozy afterwards. Offer them a glass of water, give them a moment before getting them to get up quickly off the bed. Sometimes if we're really removing a lot of toxicity out of the body, we don't want them to either kind of fall over and pass out after our facial massage. Then we have our tension lines. So around your forehead or your frown lines in between the 11s, we can utilize acupressure on the glabella or the temples gently kneading along the brows. So really utilizing your the pads of the tip of your fingers to working around that brow line to release that tension. Temples, we often do this when we've got a bit of a tension headache, just around our temples as well. The muscles that we target, so we've got our frontalis, the corrugators, or the procerus. So the procerus, especially around between our brows there. This is going to relieve muscular tension that causes your expression lines. Then we have TMJ, or jaw tension. So I'm a big culprit of this when I sleep because I wear retainers, I clench, or we've got our teeth grinders, and often enough, they're going to feel a lot of tension just around that masseter area or in their jawline. So what massage movement you want to utilize for this is your deep petrissage. So really knead along that jawline or that circular friction over the masseter. So your muscles targeted, we've got the masseters, the temporalis, and your buccinator. This is going to release jaw clenching, softens the facial profile, and improves circulations. So back when I was performing more your type of buccal or buccal massages, the actual lifting and release almost instantly defining as well, because we're releasing all that tension in that buccinator and that masseter muscle as well. Then we have our dull and devitalized skins. So what we want to use are like your depotement, so your light rhythmic tapping with your fingertips, our brisk effleurage to stimulate. So your muscles targeted with this are your multiple superficial facial massage, or your muscles, sorry, like your zygomatus and your orbicularis oculi. This is going to boost blood flow, really oxygenate the skin, and revives glow. So there are a lot of different type of massage movements that you can utilize to really brighten and bring back that luminosity or that clarity to the skin. So when do we use facial massage? So you can integrate facial massage into most skin treatments. Even a few minutes can really shift the entire tone of the skin and the mood of your client. So when to use it: during your facial or mask activation, post-cleansing to promote absorption, or during pre-cleanse. I love when I'm using like a cleansing oil or a makeup balm. This is going to, introduce your touch to the massage, and using your more effleurage type movements just to get your client, say if they rushed here or if they've had a busy day at the office, incorporating your facial massage during your pre-cleanse is just going to really help slow them down, slow down that heart rate, slow down their breathing, and get them in relaxation mode. We want to utilize it a standalone treatment. So, if we're going to allocate time for your facial massage, so, it can be up to 10 or 30 minutes, depending on how long you have during your facials or your skin treatment. You can use this as a bit of a ritual. Then at home, so I like to sometimes show my clients when they're applying their home care products, there's certain kind of massage movements that they can incorporate to allow better absorption, to really stimulate that microcirculation so they are getting full benefits of their products. And this is something that you can definitely add in. Everyone's doing their little skincare or home care rituals when they're doing their face mask or their serums. By giving them a few little massage movements that they can utilize at home, is just adding to building that rapport. Not only that, but also creating a whole ritual that the client loves to do at home. Now we're going into contraindications. So this is when to avoid or adapt your facial massage movements. So we've got our absolute contraindications, so no massage at all. Your contagious skin conditions, so your impetigo or herpes simplex, so your cold sores, fungal infections, open wounds, cuts or abrasions, severe acne. So this is leaning into your more grades 3 or 4 type acne. A lot of the time there's a lot of inflammation, there's a lot of pain associated with those breakouts. Not only that, we're going to risk spreading the bacteria and worsening the inflammation. And then we've got skin infections, so bacterial or viral, Any recent facial surgery. So you'd want to wait until it's cleared by their medical professional. Severe sunburn. Again, that's pretty straightforward why we wouldn't massage over a severe sunburn. Uncontrolled hypertension or heart disease. You want to make sure they have doctor's clearance before performing any sort of facial massage, because again, we're stimulating that circulation, we're stimulating that lymphatic. Contraindications, so your relative contraindications. So this is where we're going to modify or avoid certain areas. Your rosacea. So this where we want to avoid strong stimulation, friction, and heat producing. So a lot of the time, clients with rosacea, they will have that heat and that inflammation just where the rosacea flares up. You can still use like light drainage movements over their affected areas. However, for the rest of the face, you can still perform your normal massage. Recent injectables, so like your Botox and your fillers, you want to avoid the area for 10 to 14 days. Reason being, we want to make sure their injectables are settled before we do any sort of friction or movement to the skin or muscles. Our eczema, psoriasis, or dermatitis flare ups, what we can do is avoid your inflamed areas. Bruising or swelling, avoid affected area until healed. Again, with the swelling, if it looks like the type where it may be associated with a medical condition, like your lymphoma, you want to make sure the client has doctor's clearance before going ahead with any sort of massage. Pregnancy, so we can utilize some pressure points. They need to be avoided. Sorry, some pressure points need to be avoided unless the therapist is trained in your prenatal massage. And then your varicose veins on the neck area. So over that, you want to avoid direct pressure. So again, you can perform your massage in other areas that aren't affected, but just avoiding that direct pressure on the varicose vein. Oh, now we're into our Q&A. Does anyone have any questions? I'm going to end this slideshow and go back to the video. No? Perfect. Does anyone have any questions before we go into the demo? No? Okay. Alrighty. So what we're going to do, just give me like a minute or two. We're just going to take a quick pause. We're going to switch the camera so we can see my model. Feel free to quickly go to the bathroom or get a drink, and then we'll come back on and do the demo. Can everyone see my lovely model, Rachel? Oh, perfect. All right, Kylie, what can I help you with? You had your hand up? No? Okay. Okie dokie. So let's get into our demo. So I have our lovely Rachel who's joined me and volunteered her beautiful face for our massage demo. So what I like to do obviously we've performed our cleanse, our exfoliation. We're up to our massage section of our facial treatment. So our hands are nice and warm, and we're going to start with our facial massage movement. So today I'll be using our lovely Babasu massage flow, or our facial flow massage oil. So this is a beautiful cream. So what I'm going to start off with is with application. So when it comes to applying your massage medium, making sure you're warming it up in your hands. And before you start any sort of massage movements, you want to make sure you've got enough massage mediums all over. Spreading it across the face, over the top lip. And then I'll just grab a little bit more, because the last thing we want to do is run out of massage medium, or the client's skin has absorbed that beautiful oil. For me as well, when I'm performing my massage step of the facial, I like to put a little bit of medium just on the midline of my forearm. The reason being is I incorporate that area as well, especially when we're coming down into that mid of the back, and when we're doing some of our more petrissage or kneading type movements as well. So before we start, I'm just going to get Rachel to take a few deep breaths in. We're going to have a beautiful scent as well. You can also introduce your touch. We're going to start with our slow movements, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to come down the solar plexus. So Rachel, again, I'm going to invite you to take 3 deep breaths in, and here we're going to do little circles, and when our client's taking that deep breath out, we're going to apply a little bit of pressure. In and out. And now we're going to start our massage. So again, being female, I always love having my décolletage massage. So we're going to start off with a few of our effleurage movements. We're introducing our pressure as well. We're going to check in with our client. Is that pressure okay? Or would you like me to go lighter or firmer? Okay, thank you. And we're going to start kneading. Again, you know, as women, we tend to have very sore décolletages. It's holding the pec muscles around there. We don't realize how sore it is as well until we actually get massaged there. I'm just going to pick up and knead. So as you can see, just really knead and pick up that skin. A big thing for me as well, when I'm performing massages, is length of nails. So I have gone and shortened my nails. For those who do know me, I tend to have longer nails. But for this presentation, especially because it's super important that we're really able to utilize the tips of our fingers without scratching or interfering with how much pressure we can apply with our massage. So a little bit of kneading. You can come in with your knuckles as well. Really releasing that tension. When it comes to repetitions, I always say at least a minimum of 3 passes. Depending on how much time you have, you can repeat it up to 6 or 8. And again, depending on how much massage movements you're including, we're going to sweep up and really apply that pressure just under that, at the base of the skull just there. We're going to release a lot of tension. Coming back down to the décolletage, what I'm going to do now is stimulate and massage that fascia. So this is using really light pumping movements, as you can see, out to the axillary. And a big thing for massage is what you don't want to break your touch. So when it comes to coming and changing directions, one hand at a time. And then sweep. I'm going to start moving. So you always want to make sure that your moves are connecting. And coming down, working into that scapular area in the traps. And you can also just guide your client in the direction you want to go. The pressure okay? What I like to do now is I start moving up the face. So we can either go in with our more lymphatic movements or I like to call this a bit of cardio for the face. So we're getting that bottom of the neck around that lower face area to stimulate that circulation. We want to get to the point where we're getting a little bit of color, a little bit of erythema. And coming around, I'm going to turn. You can do it a bit faster as well. Coming up the temples, reducing your fingers, so just using your ring fingers above the forehead. And then move our client and coming back down, back to the middle. And what we want to do here is just drain, light pressure movements. So whenever we're working down the face, I like to call them phantom movements or ghost movements because we're not really applying much pressure when we're going down the face. Because we're trying to sculpt and lift, we apply our pressure when we're working up the face. When we're moving back down to that lower position, that really light phantom pressure. And then what we can do now, again, still stimulating that circulation. So I like to use the pads of my fingers. You can utilize your knuckles, but I find the pads just a little bit more gentle on the skin. And going in. So I like to start off with more of these movements at the start before my client starts falling asleep. And again, coming around and drain. So once we've kind of stimulated that circulation, this is when I go into a little bit more of my sculpting movement. So I'm just going to turn Rachel's head so you can all see. I like to come to the side a little bit as well. You can perform this movement sitting, but this is going to really release that tension in the masseter. So we call this your marriage finger. So we've got our husband, we've got our wife. We're going to rest our other fingers here to apply that pressure and really work up that jawline. This is where we can really apply a lot more firmer pressure as well to remove any gut tension. You'll be able to see here as well that Rachel's holding quite a bit of tension in her masseter. And then we drain. And come back up. And these moves can be really slow. Again, if you want to apply a lot firmer pressure as well. Working just under that cheekbone down. Really getting that sculpting. This also gives you a lot of contouring to the face as well. And lighten our pressure a little bit and start working under the eye. So again, not breaking that contact with the client's skin. And then the forehead. And then we're going to switch sides. So again, you can come to the other side of the bed for this. I am just staying on this side so you can see my fingers. Just checking the pressure with your client. This side tends to, I can feel that's holding a little bit more tension. So if the client is holding that little bit more tension just around that masseter area, you can just focus and apply that little bit more pressure. We're going to come under the cheeks. I'm going to lighten that pressure under the eye area. Down the forehead. I'm going to drain, come around to the back to the front, and then we're just going to do a full facial drain. Again, really light pressure coming down to that lymph node. What I'm going to do now is utilize a bit of lymphatic movement and stimulate that fascia. So this is what I was doing on the décolletage. So what you can do as well is just little or light lymphatic movement. So I'm pumping my fingers. Stimulate that fascia, move that lymphatic. On one side. I'll turn it this way so everyone can see. And then what we can do, again, more sculpting movements, stimulating that lymphatic, pumping out any fluid. Move to the other side of the face. These are more smaller movements. Now I'm going to move around the eye area. So see, with my facial massage, I have broken up into sections of the face. Again, some people start on the forehead and then work their way down. I like to kind of start working down on the way up. We need to start in the eye area. So we're just going to really start massaging between the procerus with our thumbs, applying that little bit of pressure. Nice slow movements. One that I learnt back when I was an apprentice, and I still perform this to this time of day, is our little walks just around that pressure point. You can do a bit of a pause. This is why the length of your nails are really important as well. So if I had longer nails, I would not be able to really scoop up just under that eye area. And and drain. Good sleep. Little light sweeping movements over the eyes. And whenever you're massaging around the eye areas, well, you don't want to use firm pressure. So I'm going to do a bit more of lymphatic around the eye. So one hand, or your left hand, is on the temple, supporting. I'm going to come in with my thumbs again and just little pumping movements. There's a little lymph node just at the corner of the eye around that nose area. We're going to apply a bit of pressure there and come back around. Sweep. You can do slower movements. So you can repeat that up to 3 or 6 times. When it comes to moving to the other side, I just sweep nice and lightly across without breaking that contact with the skin, switch hands and go into the other side. I'm just going to move my hand there so you can see where I'm pressing. So we're just pressing in this little area there. Then we're going to do, and this again, this might bring back a few memories for everyone from college, is our beautiful figure, a nice light figure of 8 just around the eye area. You can go across on each side, nice and lightly. And then I like to start moving up to the forehead. So it's just starting those lifting movements. Again, this is something that I learned when I was learning buccal massage. This is going to give the brows a little bit of lift. We're utilizing our index and middle finger. On the opposite brow, we're going to press and rotate a little bit. 1, 2, 3, and then stretch. Bring our other hand over. 1, 2, 3, and just really keep that flow moving. 1, 2, 3, pressing down and lifting. 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to start kneading the eyebrows. Again, just utilizing small movements. Across. And lift up around that psoas area a little bit more. And onto our forehead. Little figure of 8s. I like to call these piano fingers. So just utilizing all your fingers to really lift up the brows, working up the forehead, down to the temple. Again, you can utilize a bit faster speed or slower, depending on how much time you have for the massage. Working into the hairline. And then sweeping to the other side. So I like to call, again, this move is really light pressure. It's our half moons. So what you're going to do with your fingers is just sweep really lightly and keep your fingers and move along the forehead area. So we're going to just sweep and stretch nice and lightly. I'm just going to move my hand a little bit so you can see the move on this side. I'll show on Rachel's cheek actually. So what we're doing with our thumbs is just working in between each other like that across the forehead. Okay, down to the temple, working across to the other side. Pass along with our fingers, applying a little bit more firmer pressure. Drain. And what I like to call this move is the full face pull. So you're using that section of the forearm, sweeping up through the palms to the fingertips and actually pressing into quite a few acupressure points in the face. So we're going to give Rachel's face a hug. We're going to slide up and really mold along that jawline, coming up, using our tips of the fingers, coming up under the cheekbones, resting our thumbs, lifting, pulling up, and giving the skin a nice stretch. You can do this a few times. I like to end my massage this way. Really applying that pressure in those acupressure points. I'm going to show you a little trick I like to do with my hot towels as well. So we've finished our massage. As you can see, Rachel's skin has absorbed quite a bit of it. However, if you're going to apply a sheet mask, we don't want to have any barrier, or if we're finishing off with our finishing products, we want to make sure we're removing any residual massage medium on the skin. So here's a hot towel I prepared earlier. We're going to make sure, just need one, that it's not too hot. We're going to bring it down into the décolletage, fold it across the chin. And what we're going to do now is give it a little lift, her chin a little lift, little stretch. Fold it over. Now I call this a hot towel roll down. So we're going to start the hairline. Fold it over and give it a nice massage. So in little circular motions, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to fold it down to the brows in upward motions, 1, 2, 3, 4. Under the cheekbones, lifting, 1, 2, 3, 4. Jawline. Again, you can use the end of your fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then fold it down across the décolletage along the axillary. Fold it to the middle. And then you can sweep across. Okay, so that's removed that massage medium, but it's also just, again, adding to that skin ritual, that facial massage. Once you've removed that, you've applied your skincare products. Again, continuing with that rollness, your shoulder stretches. I always love finishing with this. I love receiving it. Okay, our facial massage is finished. So that's just a few little movements that I like to perform during my massage. Again, you know, these are just some movements and tips and tricks that you can utilize in your facial massage as well. However, everyone's trained in different ways, but this is, again, giving you that hot towel roll down, how to introduce your touch and really elevate your facial massage movements in your treatments. Thank you for joining us today. I look forward to seeing you all again next month. So Heather will be taking October's edition. And again, thank you for taking the time to join us today at September's Skin Health School series.